Hello, boys and girls. Mrs. Blackburn here today with our personal narrative. We will be working on revising your learning goal. Students will learn what it means to revise a draft of writing. Your success criteria: students will successfully revise their personal narratives by adding, removing, and making changes to their writing. We are going to look at a revising video, and this is one that we had looked at the beginning of the year, so it should look familiar, but I thought it would be a good idea to take a peek at it again to help us jog our memories a little bit about exactly what revising is.
Writing a personal narrative. Episode 6, Revising Your Story. A personal narrative is a true story about your life. You can write about something that has happened to you. When we revise, we make sure our writing makes sense. We also make changes to make our writing sound even better before we publish it. There are several different ways you can revise your writing. You can add words and sentences to add detail. You can remove words that are unnecessary or that don't make sense. And you can change words to make your story more interesting. When you add words, you can add adjectives, which describe the people, places, and things in your story. You can add adverbs, which describe the actions or verbs in your story. Or you can add more details about things that happened. Here's part of my personal narrative I wrote about getting a dog. It says, first, my mom came to my room to talk to me. She told me since I had gotten good grades at school, I could get a dog. I was so excited, I jumped up in the air. First, I'm going to add an adjective. I'm going to write the word sweet to describe my mom. Next, I'm going to add an adverb. I'm going to write super high to describe how I jumped. Last, I'm going to add some more details. I'm going to write, "You're the best," I screamed. Now the reader can imagine what happened in my story even better. Next, I'm going to remove some words. I can think, what doesn't make sense? And what isn't important to my story to help me decide what to take out? My next page says, then we got in the car to drive to the store in the car. I couldn't wait. When we pulled up, I saw that the store had a lot of dogs that needed to be adopted. The store was green. Did you hear anything that didn't make sense? Oh, yeah, I can take out in the car because I already said that once. Did you hear anything that wasn't important? I guess the store was green isn't really important. It doesn't have anything to do with me getting a dog. Last, I'm going to see if there are any words I can change. I can ask myself, what doesn't make sense? If I used a word that doesn't make sense, I can change it. I can also change any boring words I use to more interesting words. Here's my next page. It says, when we got to the store, I looked at all of the dogs. They were all so cute. All of a sudden, one come up and licked my foot. He was white and fluffy and so adorable. I decided he was the dog for me. Did you hear a word that didn't make sense? Oh, when I said one come up, I should have said one came up since it happened in the past. That sounds much better. How about a boring word that I could change? I think I'm going to change looked into gazed. Those words sort of mean the same thing, but gazed sounds way more interesting. That's it. Thanks for helping me revise my writing. Now my story sounds so much better after I added.
All right, boys and girls, so you can see that was a nice little review of what exactly goes into revising. We're going to take a look now at the examples that we've been working with this week. This was a personal narrative. Remember, we used our graphic organizer on Monday to plan your writing. And then we went into, we looked at this example of a draft that we read yesterday, and it was written by Evan. It's called Houston Blooms. Now let's take a look at some of the revisions that he had made. I live in Houston, Texas. A home can teach us like school teachers and books can. Once the city tore down an empty building across the street from me, look how he used his editing proofreader's marks to take out once, and he used a caret, and he's showing that he put in last summer. He changed that to a transition word at the beginning of a sentence for better sentence fluency. It's also a lot more specific. After they cleared the rubble, there was an empty lot. So here he's changing better word choice from rubble to debris. It stared blankly like it was lonely and sad. I felt the same way about it. Again, changing better word choice from it to the view. It's a lot more specific. That night, my dad told me the city council was getting ideas for what to do with the lot. What about a park? I said dreamily. What made you think of that? My mom said. Said is definitely an overused word, and there's so many different word choices that you can use instead of said. He changed that to asked. Again, better word choice. I missed where we lived when I was a baby. My dad said he mowed the lawn, and I crawled barefoot in the grass. Using an adjective, he uses cool grass. I don't remember. It sounded fun. I couldn't be barefoot in Houston. We need more nature in the city, I said. Dad could get a lawnmower again. Plus, green spaces help the environment. I had learned that last part in science class. Here he adds another transition. Instead of just having I at the beginning of the word, he says that night. This, again, makes better sentence fluency. I brainstormed some more reasons a park would be good. The next day, I presented my idea to the city council. My idea won. The city would build a park, but the citizens had to take care of it. I found volunteers from my school to clean up dirty litter, adding adjectives, and plant bright and good-smelling flowers. Again, adding more detail. Finally, the park opened. The city now has a safe, clean, green place to enjoy. Cities are big ecosystems full of, instead of people, he changed that to folks who make a city bloom. So here you can see all kinds of different, how he added transitions, which is very simple, and just changed up some better word choice and added more detail. So this was only revising, not the editing part. We'll talk about the editing part tomorrow. I'm also dropping the rubric in Schoology and the puzzle piece so that you can take a look at that. This is a 4, which is the score that you want to get, a 3, a 2, and a 1. It uses plenty of descriptive language to tell about a personal experience, including thoughts and feelings, has a logical sequence of events with transition words to connect ideas, has a strong conclusion that gives a sense of closure. Again, I want to point out that your personal narrative needs to go in chronological order or a sequence that makes sense. That's that text structure that we learned about in the last few weeks. So, I hope this was a good review for you, and that if you have any questions that you do reach out to your teachers. You'll know you're successful because let's look at the success criteria again. You'll successfully revise your personal narratives by adding, removing, and making changes to your writing. Once again, reach out to your teachers if you have any questions.